Hello, everyone. Hopefully this was working. And I'm just going to start on... Oh, dearie me. I'm just going to start on Instagram too. So welcome. Very good to be back. I always enjoy these lives. So hopefully they're with Instagram. Unfortunately, it seems to have changed everything around. So finding the live function now is now an impossible. But let's have a go and see if I can do it. Okay, here we go. There we go. So welcome everyone. It's great to be back. And today I've got a topic for you, which is about the International Day of Multilingualism, which takes place on the 27th of March, which is a week to, in a week's time, well, just under a week's time. So I would definitely love to see as many of you there as possible. Basically, the International Day of Multilingualism is something that was thought up of by a friend of mine, Thomas Back, and some of his colleagues. Thomas works at Edinburgh University. He's a researcher there in neuroscience, neurolinguistics, and how people, how the brains work with different languages and the effects that it has on the brain. And he gives some amazing talks, and he's spoken at the Polyglot Conference on a couple of occasions, and also at the language event in Edinburgh, which took place last year. So I would definitely recommend looking at some of his work because it's really, really interesting to see. But he came up with this because basically we have the 21st of February, which is International Mother Language Day, and we also have the 26th of September, which is the day for the European Day of Languages. And they're both really good events. He felt that there was a missing day, and I completely agree, that we didn't have anything that really celebrated multilingualism. And so the day of the 27th of March was selected and chosen for this day because it's the day where we celebrate and commemorate the deciphering of the Rosetta Stone. So the Rosetta Stone, obviously the stone that was key and pivotal in the deciphering of Egyptian hieroglyphics, because we had the three languages on there, so we were able to understand how what the words meant with the ancient Greek, but also how they potentially sounded and how they were used in the common writing system of the ancient Egyptians, as well as the more beautiful and sort of the language that we imagine, we visualize when we think of Egypt with these beautiful hieroglyphs. So it's on that day that we celebrate the day of multilingualism. Now, the really cool thing this year is that we're going to repurpose the Polyglot Conference website and the live environment. So anyone who came to the Polyglot Conference Global last year and has logins for the live environment and also for the forum, you can reuse those to be able to join automatically. If you haven't done that and you want to, you can. I'm going to put a link in the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to find that, and I will also add it if I can as a comment on the Instagram post after this video is posted. And so you'll be able to find the information you need to be able to join in. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a series of events taking place over the 27th of March. Now, that means the 27th of March all the way across the globe. So when the 27th of March starts in sort of places like New Zealand, right the way until the 27th of March ends in places like Hawaii. So it will be over one day. It will be longer than a day. It will be more like 2 days, I guess, by the time it's finished. And so if you see the link to join the event, it will look like it's a 2 or 3 day event, but actually it's just to take into account that we have a number of time zones, and it will be the 27th. We're also extremely honored to be able to pay tribute to Moses McCormick on the 27th too. A number of us have been working behind the scenes on putting together a tribute to him. in his memory and in his honor. And we think that the Day of Multilingualism is a really good day to honor him and to pay homage to Moses. After everything he stood for, it was, you know, learning lots of different languages from all over the world. And Benny Lewis is working hard and stitching together a number of videos from, I believe, 50 different people using 50 different languages, saying things in these different languages. And also he's going to release this on the 27th in honor of Moses and in honor of celebrating multilingualism. So we hope that you will like the final result. I'm extremely eager to see what it will be like myself. I felt very honored to even be part of this celebration of Moses, and also to be able to take part in paying tribute to his life and his work and everything he's done, his legacy that will live on. And we're using hashtags for this. For the Moses part of the project, we'll be using the Laoshu 5500, which is forever, Laoshu 5500 forever. And we'll also use the multilingual is normal hashtag, as well as multilingual day. So please join in and celebrate multilingualism, celebrate the idea of speaking multiple languages and how it is a normal thing around the world. Many people feel that, you know, speaking multiple languages is something that's, you know, reserved to people of a certain privilege or of certain intellect or of, I don't know, for many reasons. There are many misconceptions. And we're here to say loud and proud that this isn't true. That actually being multilingual is something that many people can do, and it's something that I think Moses illustrated very well. And so it feels exactly the right thing to do, to show that as Moses really showed, anyone can learn a language to make a difference to somebody else's life and touch people's lives. And multiple languages touch many of our lives, whether we're conscious of it or not. We have many languages in our communities, people who move to our communities, people who are from our communities originally, people who have come together. And there are many countries in the world where multiple languages is normal. Speaking multiple languages is quite the thing. And there are many countries where that happens. In fact, over the last 10 weeks, I've completed a course in a language called Kristang. And Kristang is a language, I believe that they refer to it as a Creole from Malaysia and Singapore, from that area. Nowadays, it's an endangered language, and Kristang is it's got a lot of elements from Portuguese and also from Malay Indonesian. And with Kodra Kristang, which is the group that supports and teaches the language to a number of people around the world, we've been able to enjoy the lessons ourselves via Zoom during the time of the pandemic. And in fact, at the very last lesson, I asked whether or not it would be okay to set up a group to teach more people what we've learned so far. And so a number of us from the group want to teach on our knowledge so that you as well can learn some Kristang. If you're interested in learning Kristang and you speak Spanish or Portuguese and you speak some Malay or Indonesian as well, you should find this quite an easy language to pick up as an additional language and support the Kristang community. It's actually quite an interesting journey to go on, because you learn about something quite different to what we're used to learning, right? In sort of the bigger, more sort of catalogued and documented languages. I knew nothing about Kristang when I went into this, and I've actually really started to enjoy learning more and more about that part of Asia and its heritage and peoples. And I think that we gain a lot from it. Now, the really cool thing is that if you want to sign up, I've put a link to the sign up form on the YouTube channel. So please go to the YouTube channel description if you want to sign up to join. You're very welcome to. We ask a few questions so that we know how to organize this, but there are people around the world who have studied Kristang for the first level, and you will be able to join. And then if you complete this study group with us, they will accept you onto the next level at Kodra Kristang as well, so that you can join in the next level with the group, and we can teach more people Kristang. Hey, it's a fun thing to do, and hopefully we'll get to practice it at future language events as another language that we know. And yeah, I hope to see more of you there as well, so please do join in. But the other thing you can do, you can actually get involved in the Day of Multilingualism yourselves. That's just one way I'm choosing to celebrate multilingualism from a country like Singapore and like Malaysia that are extremely multilingual. Learning this minority language and this endangered language from those countries is quite a nice way to celebrate, I think. And but you can also celebrate in your own ways, and that could be giving language tasters of different languages. It could be you want to have a discussion about multilingualism, about raising multilingual children. It could be how to learn multiple languages, how to maintain multiple languages, how to improve on languages. Some of the ideas that I got from the Clubhouse discussion on exactly the same topic that we're discussing now were exactly these things. And so what we'll do is we'll try and incorporate as many different elements into the day's proceedings as possible, so that we can all get as much from this day of multilingualism as we can. And so there's another link as well to show you how you can get involved. You can put forward your ideas and apply to be a presenter, a speaker, or host an hour during the period of time that we're going to be celebrating multilingualism. And we'd love to hear from you. So if you have time to dedicate to this, it could be your 27th. It could be actually that you start it on your day of the 26th or end it on your day of the 28th. But it happens during the hours of the 27th for somebody, and that's the key thing here. And we would love to hear from you, because I think that it would be lovely to get as many of you as involved in this as possible. After all, you're our community, you're the community, you are our people, you're our tribe, we all belong to the same group, and so without you, there isn't the community, and there isn't this celebration, and there isn't this knowledge, and it is to do with the sharing of knowledge. So we would love for you to get involved in this, and for it to be a multi-way street, not just a two-way street, but a multi-way street. And please do reach out on any of those links, whether you want to join the Kristang study group or whether you want to get involved in celebrating multilingualism. And as I say, if you already took part in the Polyglot Conference, you should still have your logins that will work to be able to take part automatically. If you haven't, there's a link as well to join through to get an automatic response to be able to join the live environment. Then we only ask for a donation. You are able to actually copy and paste a link to get free tickets if you can't donate for whatever reason, say, well, whatever reason, it doesn't matter. Whatever reason you can't donate, you're able to get access anyway. We don't exclude anyone at the Polyglot Conference, and we don't exclude anyone at the Multilingual Day either. It's open to everyone who's got obviously an internet connection, but that's the only prerequisite, that you've got an internet connection. It's just a love of language and a love of being together and making friends and being part of something nice. That's the only thing that we ask, is that you sign up. The only reason we've done it through the Eventbrite is that it automates the process, so that we're not dealing with, we're a very small team, and we don't really have the resources to deal with individual emails every single time. So it's a good way to have a message that goes out automatically and with instructions. And you can always reach out at polyglotconference@gmail.com if you have any questions or any difficulties. Please do let us know, and be very happy to help. Okay. So, I mean, they are all the things I wanted to talk about right now. I hope that you found it interesting sort of talking about the Day of Multilingualism. If you're just arriving now and you're seeing this as I start, then feel free to go back and watch this as a recording, because it will be kept as a recording on YouTube and on Instagram, and I will see if I can share it to Facebook too. But yeah, lovely to see you all joining. Thank you so much for coming and for supporting and try and get to your questions. Thank you everyone for writing and for your patience while I talk through what's happening. I see that there's a bit of an issue at the beginning here with the daylight savings thing. So the US and Europe have different dates for changing the hours. So hopefully next week, I think, is the last Sunday where we should have this issue. So the US, North America generally, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you change your clocks 2 weeks before Europe and other parts of the world. So there is a kind of a change in times. It means that I miss a couple of my weeks of Korean studies, unfortunately, because I have my Cornish class that clashes just for those 2 weeks in between too. So I'm sorry that it's not sort of updated properly for you. I think you're probably used to time. It will all feel back to normal again very soon. So looking forward to it, to seeing you. If any of you are on Clubhouse, I've been writing about Clubhouse a lot recently and talking about it. Please do join me on Clubhouse too. It's a great format to have kind of more of a platform to have a lot of conversations about different things. And I'm meeting on Thursday with Vladimir Skulteti, who is a wonderful polyglot from Slovakia, and so please do join on Clubhouse if you're on it. If you're not on Clubhouse, then hopefully you will be soon. I hope that it's going to roll out to more people and on more devices. It's a great tool for language learning and for practicing and for discussing things as well in a sort of an open forum. I've also set up a Discord server for Polyglot Conference, and I'm doing my best with Discord. I'm quite new to it, but I'm doing my best, and I hope that we'll be able to have more conversations there too. If any of you have any other suggestions that you'd like me to do, then please feel free to put them forward. I'm always open to ideas and thoughts as well. Okay, so all of that out of the way, let me get to the questions that you have. Celui je crie de Québec, Canada. Bah, salut Joe, ça va bien? J'adore ton travail, mon ami. Un grand merci pour toutes les vidéos que tu fais. Bah, je t'en prie, c'est gentil. Ryan, yeah, it's great that Moses will be included in the Polyglot Conference. Absolutely. So, I mean, Moses, his legacy, I think, will live on for generations to come, not just for this Polyglot Conference and this Day of Multilingualism. I think it will live on generally for a long time. His videos are out there. There are enough people who have seen them and can talk about him and his work, and how much he did to inspire people. I'm still really loving seeing all of the messages of how much Moses inspired people floating around. It's been really heartwarming actually to see, and yeah, I mean, I think that will continue, and I really hope so for his family to see. I mean, they already are, I'm sure, extremely aware of how many people's lives he touched, but it's nice to see that carry on. And sometimes even if people give compliments and talk every now and again, you know, they know, it is nice to kind of hear it repeated, because it reaffirms the validity, right? So yeah, we will keep him with us for a long time. Carlos, Dias Morovic, Conostato. That's about as far as my Irish goes. Vivian, hi, let's a little lingual. Oh, can I explain who is called a lingual? Excellent question. So it's a really funny thing. The word polyglot and the word multilingual, actually, they're the same meaning, really, because poly is multi or many, and glot is glossa from Greek, like tongue. So many tongues, and multilingual is also many tongues. So really, who is multilingual? Both words officially should be the same, right? But I think what in English particularly, because the word polyglot isn't a typical word that we use in common parlance, It's not like in French. Polyglot is very common, and most French speakers will know the word polyglot and they know what it means. But many English speakers still are not, outside of the language learning community particularly, are not so sure about what polyglot means. And for me, this is where the difference lies in English. Polyglot is, for me, is somebody who goes and learns different languages outside of their communities and their cultural the cultural sort of atmosphere. So they don't need to particularly learn another language or other languages, but they do so because they want to, and they have a joy and a passion for learning languages. Whereas a multilingual for me is somebody who grows up multilingually, somebody who grows up because their environment is multilingual. They speak different languages just because of where they were born, the family they were born into, or the place they live. So, for example, somebody born in on the Zambezi, for example, may speak a number of different languages because on the Zambezi there are a number of countries that cross over. So they could speak different African languages plus English, and they may even learn another language if they're on the Namibian side. They may speak Afrikaans too. So there are a number of different things attached to that idea of multilingual. A country like Luxembourg would be another multilingual country for me. People in Luxembourg may end up being polyglots and like to learn lots of languages, but many of them are they would just say they're multilingual because they grew up that way, speaking Luxembourgish, German, French, and then learning English at school and whatever else. So that would be for me this idea. Do you use IPA for learning pronunciation? Actually, no, I don't, Carlos. I don't use IPA. I can read IPA. I studied it, but I don't use it all the time. I tend not to. In normal, only if I've got it provided in a book for some reason, I will refer to it. I'll read it to see if there's any difference in what I understand as the sound and how it's written in IPA. But otherwise, I don't actively go out to use it. Say hello to Brazil. Olá, tudo bem do Brasil? Tá bom. Estou falando muito em português ultimamente com todo mundo, com vocês, com a gente do Brasil. Eu gosto muito disso. I'm also a beginner in Irish, but I'm now getting better at it. Fantastic, Carlos. I'm glad you're learning Irish. Beautiful language that is too. Jasper says hyperpolyglot, Greek roots, super multilingual Latin roots. Yeah, I've never been called a super multilingual before. Hyperpolyglot is kind of it's a fairly recent of a word, in fact, but it's, you know, in terms of relatively speaking with languages, I think is it the 80s or something like that it was coined. It's not that old though. Hey Richard, how is your Korean going? Oh, John, it's going slowly. It's a very different language, but I'm really enjoying the study groups on Clubhouse for Korean because it just gives me that push every single day. So I'm doing it on Mondays to Fridays. I do every single day. I have this Clubhouse group that we meet up, and they're just the best people. They're so kind and so encouraging, and they give great feedback, and we just have a really good group. So I feel very, very fortunate that I've found that group. It's almost like my little Korean family. It's really nice. So slowly, I had a Korean lesson this morning, and I was kind of making sense of some things, murdering the Korean language for my poor teacher, but it'll get there. Just going to take a bit of time. But when I say a bit, I mean quite a lot of time. We may celebrate multilingualism by speaking with people without using language, but through sign and actions. That's quite a nice idea. Sign language is part of the whole multilingual and, you know, language context. So sign is really nice. In fact, before all this crazy time with the pandemic started, I had just started going to a Macedonian Sign Language class, and I was supposed to carry on the course for level 1, but obviously this all happened, and unfortunately I had to stop. I did about 3 or 4 lessons maybe, and I really liked it. The British Sign Language that I learnt years and years ago. But clearly it's a different language, so I can't use it here. Some signs are the same. So Bulgaria is this in British Sign Language and in Macedonian Sign Language, and you can say thank you as well in both, like this. You just different lip movements. So I say thank you in English, or in Welsh diolch, or in Macedonian fala. And so I've been learning bits of things like that, but it's, as I say, I need to go back to it. And when this is all over, I want to go back and learn Macedonian Sign Language, because for me, it's an important thing to do, to learn. I like learning the languages of a country and of a region, and yeah, it would be great to go back to it. Let me see. Hello, greetings from Poland. Pozdrowienia Polski. Do you still in Polish? Nie uczę się polskiego teraz, dlatego że nie mam czasu, dlatego, ale mówię. Ja myślę, że no, to nie to tak, tak trudne dla mnie mówić po polsku, dlatego że to jest no, jak po czesku. Ja sam uczył się czeskiego na uniwersytecie w Pradze no godzinę, także rozumiem bardzo dobrze po polsku, gdzieś mam telewizję, na radiu, bez problemu rozumiem, ale no, teraz nie mam z kim mówić po polsku, ale słucham no, radio po polsku, także to nie to tak trudne. Hey Richard, I joined the Polyglot community 10 years ago, and it's amazing how things have changed since then. What do you think the community will look like in 10 years? Any expectations? Very good question. I have no idea, Diogo, what it will look like. It's already completely unrecognizable to when I first started. I could never have imagined how it would be. I think Clubhouse is really changing the face of the community and will continue to. I think that probably there's more to come from TikTok as well. I'm following TikTok quite actively and watching the language community there. Right now, TikTok isn't there for the language community. It's just there aren't enough people, and they're not joining up yet. I want to see that change. I want to see TikTok join up a little bit more. At the moment, it feels a bit sporadic, and the way you get into, for example, watching TikTok videos, it's kind of hit and miss, because yeah, you've got to follow lots of people before the algorithm shows you what you really want to see. Otherwise, you get lots of sometimes very fun and very interesting silly dances and funny pet things and whatever else, and cookery stuff and some really cool stuff. I mean, I've learned lots of really good stuff on TikTok. But the language community, as opposed to sort of on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram, you can really get your algorithm showing you the stuff that you want to see. And on TikTok, it's still not quite there. And I think that's partly because there aren't enough of us on there making content and sort of stitching things together enough, or collaborations together, and to see that change. So I think TikTok might grow more. It's got potential, and I think it has got real potential. There are some really good TikTokers on there in the language community, some really, really good ones. And the interesting thing with TikTok and Clubhouse is that they tend to be people who are on there now who are not connected to the rest of the language learning community in the same way. And I find that really interesting. So I would love to see more. There was a person in New York, actually, and she speaks a number of really cool languages like Nepali, and she's lived in Mongolia for 3 years, and she speaks Tibetan, and she also speaks Chinese and Thai, and as well as English. And she's based in, I think I got New York, but I think it's somewhere on the East Coast of the US. And I reached out to her, but it's very hard to reach out when you're a nobody on TikTok. and so I'm a kind of a nobody on TikTok, so I mean, she's got no reason to know who on earth I am. But she made a video saying she wished she had more of a community feel with languages, and so I reached out to sort of let her know that we're here and we would love to have her with us. hopefully that will change. That's the one thing I'm hoping that will change soon. As for like 10 years time, I have no idea. But if you see people like that on TikTok, reach out to them and tell them about our community and where people can get in touch with us all. And I think it's really, really nice. This is where the strength is in our community. It's just such a lovely place to be. And this is why I love doing these lives with you. It's always a pleasure. Richard, I'm having trouble with consistency. Don't have the time daily to practice the 3 languages I speak. Okay, so Yusuf, if you don't have time to practice them, does that mean absolutely 0 time to practice them? Or does it mean that maybe you might be able to do 5 minutes just of easy listening, 5 minutes of just looking at some words, 5 minutes of thinking of something in your head? Maybe when you're in between other tasks, you set yourself, before I do the next thing, I will do 5 minutes of the language. Just doing that will be a big help to start increasing the amount of contact you have with the language. And then you can do that with the 3 languages. I'm sure if you think of 5 minutes, it doesn't sound like a lot of time, and in real terms, it really isn't. You could even just write out a couple of words that you learnt in a lesson, or if you heard, and try and practice them, or try and use them in some way. Send a message to somebody, follow somebody on Instagram, write a reply to somebody who uses that language on Instagram or on another social media app, and use that way of using that as your 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, if you're able to expand it out to just interact with the language. Because I think that's the key thing, is you may not be able to speak it like for hours and hours a day, but you can always do 5 minutes. I'm sure for 3 languages, I'm sure you'll be able to do that. Let me know how that goes though. I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me see. Hello everyone joining. Thank you so much. You started learning Afrikaans. Brian, yes, I know you're learning Afrikaans. And on Clubhouse, there's an Afrikaans club. So you should definitely get on Clubhouse and go onto the Afrikaans channel and practice your Afrikaans. Now you've got 0 reason to be on Clubhouse, Brian. I know you have the invitation and I know you are officially on it, but now you can actually take part and practice your languages on it. Hi, Richard. I'd like to know what you know of or think about dreams in foreign languages. Perhaps an anecdote or experience you've been through. The first time it happened to me, I got burned. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So my dreams tend to be in multiple languages anyway. People tend to speak the language that they speak in real life in my dreams, and so quite often my dreams are, because of obviously my main language is Macedonian, so a lot of my dreams are in Macedonian, because the people around me speak the language, and so it's the most common language. And yeah, but I don't know if I feel burned out. I'm very used to it now. It's been many years that I've had multilingual dreams, and so I remember, when I first started having dreams in other languages, and it tends to be, first of all, you don't understand all of your dream, which is a bit weird, but it kind of, your brain fills in the gaps in a strange way, whether it's because we've heard the words or the grammar before, and your brain knows the language better than you do actively. It could be that that happens, but definitely it's funny when words pop up that you think, oh, I learned that and forgot it, and then it pops up in your dream, and I've had that happen as well. It's very strange. Oké. Hey Richard, hoe hou je al je taal op niveau? Heb je een soort routine? Nee, eigenlijk niet. Ik spreek alleen gewoon alle talen die ik thuis spreek. Ja, bijvoorbeeld voor mij hier thuis spreken we Macedonisch, Engels, Frans, Spaans en Duits. Die talen spreek ik dan elke dag met mijn vrouw en met mijn dochter. En dan dus heb ik dan wel contact met die talen. Die andere talen die ik spreek, heb ik wel contact mee met mijn werk of met vrienden of zo. Dat helpt heel veel om de talen te behouden, om te spreken, om te oefenen. En een nieuwe talen die ik leer, dan moet ik gewoon even een beetje oefenen op Clubhouse of hier of met italki leraars. En dat helpt ook heel veel met de talen. Maar ik heb geen zo routine, zo te zeggen, dat ik elke dag iets heel specifieks doe of zoiets. Nee, dat niet. Maar ik spreek er heel vaak eigenlijk, die talen die ik tot nu heb geleerd. Er zijn wel een paar talen die ik nooit kan gebruiken. En die talen dan worden gewoon een beetje achtergelaten of zoiets. En dan kan ik die niet zo goed meer spreken. Maar dat geeft niks. Voor mij is het niet zo belangrijk dat ik alle talen perfect moet spreken. Nederlands bijvoorbeeld spreek ik niet. Ik spreek nooit Nederlands hier in Noord-Macedonië. Er zijn niet zoveel Nederlanders. En ik kan de taal eigenlijk nooit gebruiken. Maar ik spreek nog steeds Nederlands natuurlijk. Want dat is een taal die ik op werk in Nederland elke dag heb spraak dan. Gewoon zo. Blijft in mijn kop, hè? In mijn hoofd. Even kijken. Oké. Rozumiem 40-50%. Okay, wow. Of which one? Telemachos, Yorgos. Which one? Awesome. Let's see. Richard, is a Polyglot Gathering going to be in Mexico this year? The Polyglot Gathering will be online. The Polyglot Gathering is actually a sister event of the Polyglot Conference, and it's run by some good friends of mine who put on a great show every year. And I love going to the Polyglot Gathering. This year it's online. It was meant to be in Poland. Hopefully next year it will be in Poland. The Polyglot Conference is meant to be in Cholula, Mexico. And now we're waiting eagerly to see what the situation will be like in October. Right now, if I'm very honest, it doesn't look amazing to have a full conference in Mexico, but we are definitely having the live environment version. The global version will happen anyway. So I think you will find that it will be fun anyway this year, and I hope you will join. Okay. Language community needs to get creative and learn language-related dances for TikTok. That would be hilarious. Oh my word. I don't think my wife would ever let me do that, and my daughter would probably kill me if she if she saw me dancing on TikTok. She said it would be absolutely embarrassing in front of her friends. And of course, on TikTok, it's geo linked, so I would appear on TikTok for many people in the area where we live, and so that would be absolutely terrible. So yeah, if I ever manage to go on TikTok and make something, it will be when I feel that we're more a community there, and I feel safer making TikTok videos. Right now, it's kind of on the cusp for me with TikTok. Okay. Yeah, Carlos, you don't like TikTok. Yeah, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. I think you have to really find things. It takes weeks to get the algorithm to send you things that you genuinely want to see. Right now, I have two accounts. I have the Polyglot Conference account and a Speaking Fluently account on TikTok. On both of them, I've spent a few weeks just tweaking who I follow, videos I don't like. I get an awful lot of rubbish still, but not as much as I did in the beginning. Now I get a lot more sort of language-related stuff, things that I find funny things in language that I find are good to share. And we're seeing people in the language community sharing more from TikTok. So I think there can be a nice crossover that can develop there. To whoever said that they don't have time, I've just begun thinking in another language. For example, if someone asks me something, I answer, but also try to answer in my head in Irish. Carlos, great advice. Yep, just think in your head, how would I have said that now in another language? And that's the way you practice your languages. Thinking is really important, because if you're not thinking and actively using the language in your head, then when are you using it if you're not speaking it actively outside in your community? Je spreekt heel goed Nederlands. Ik had je nooit Nederlands horen spreken. Ja, bedankt hoor. Ik vind het wel gaaf dat ik nog steeds Nederlands voor mij was een van mijn beste talen eigenlijk die ik tot nu heb geleerd. Want 2 jaar lang in Nederland in Rotterdam gewerkt. En elke dag Nederlands opwerken met de mensen in mijn gemeenschap daar in Rotterdam. Heel vaak Nederlands gesproken hoor. Dus voor mij is het gewoon normaal Nederlands te spreken. Ja, is inderdaad perfect. Ja, bedankt. Perfect weet ik niet, maar dat is heel lief van jou te zeggen. Bedankt. Ongelooflijk dat deze zo een hoog niveau behaalt. Ja, bedankt, terwijl deze taal in zijn dagelijks leven niet gebruikt. Ja, alleen maar voor gewoon lezen misschien. Een klein beetje. Ik heb af en toe een beetje Nederlands met mensen op straat gekletst die hier wonen. Maar ik ken niet zoveel Nederlanders hier in Macedonië, moet ik zeggen. Maar hopelijk zal ik de taal nog meer spreken. Want dat wil ik heel graag doen. Do you find that visual aids help you learn languages like pictures described by the words? Or do you prefer to learn by sound alone? I like both, actually. I like using a mixture of things. I'm not a huge... This is probably going to be a bit controversial now, isn't it? I'm not a huge believer in just one way of learning, even if we think that we are just visual learners or just kinesthetic learners or just auditory learners or whatever it is. I actually think that we use a mixture of things and we don't always admit to it. I definitely like the sound of things, so sounds are important, but also being able to visualize the word is important to me. Sometimes context is important. Sometimes feelings actually are important. When I know how I feel when I learn something. So different things really trigger memories and trigger sort of words. So there isn't just one way. And sometimes writing is the thing that I want to do. So I think that people are more complex and more multifaceted than just pigeonholes of I'm this type of person, I'm that type of person, and I believe this, I believe that, I do this, I do that, I don't think people are really like that. I think that there are many parts to every single individual, and so I mean, even when we talk about people being good and bad, right, it's good and bad or strong or weak, or there are different places where people change and alter and come out and do different things, and I try to keep as open minded as possible when it comes to people, and so this is why I always say as well, there's no one magic pill. The only things that are a constant in language learning that are true, there are only probably a couple of things, and they are, if you don't expose yourself to the language, you're not going to learn it. So the more you expose yourself, the better, and the quicker the faster you'll learn, the more easily you'll learn. And that's because language doesn't come into your body through osmosis. It's not magic. We're not Harry Potter. We have to be exposed to the language to learn it. It needs to be comprehensible input that we can understand or we have some connection to, right? The second thing that is important is thinking actively, doing something actively with or in the language is important, so that you train your brain, you make your brain work. And you really feel that when you do an activity and you really get it, you feel the difference between really getting something and just sort of doing it because you think you should do it and you can't wait for the end. There's a huge difference between those things. So these are the differences. And so legit pro wrestling TV. I love that I love it. Advice. Thank you. You're very welcome. I love you. I love your username. It sounds so funny to read legit pro wrestling TV on on a language channel. I'm guessing there's a crossover, because language crosses over all areas, right? And you are now absolutely proof of that. Je praat ontzettend goed Nederlands. Ja, bedankt hoor. Dat is heel lief. Come fa a parlare italiano così bene? Ha un accento ottimo, grazie. Non lo so, perché per me è una... che bella barba, grazie. Allora, con l'italiano è una lingua che ho imparato all'università e poi ho usato anche per lavoro. E poi sono andato a Verona per studiare all'Università di Verona. Quindi è piuttosto un accento ha una pronuncia più italiano del nord, così dicono gli italiani quando parlano con me. Ma per avere un accento italiano, un buon accento in italiano, non lo so, non ho fatto nulla, solo parlo con gli amici in italiano. Allora, anche con Luchino, con Luca Lampariello, parliamo in italiano varie volte. No. Parliamo di solito in inglese, ma parliamo in italiano. Allora è molto strano questo. No? Sì, è così. Allora è una questione di pratica. Io uso la lingua ogni opportunità che ho. C'era una famiglia italiana qua a Skopje durante quanti anni? 4 anni così. Parlavamo sempre italiano, così avrò l'opportunità di praticare l'italiano abbastanza, ma adesso purtroppo non ci sono più e poi e sono rimasto anche a casa durante un anno, quindi non parlo così tanto l'italiano come prima. Allora spero di ricominciare a parlare italiano con qualcuno a Skopje dopo la pandemia, perché sì, è un po' triste non usarlo. Mi piace tanto. Hello everyone, so thank you so much for joining. So we've been talking today about the International Day of Multilingualism. We've discussed sort of the ideas behind it, and it's taking place next week on the 27th of March, and it's going to be accessible through the live environment on the Polyglot Conference website. It's polyglotconference.com. You can join the forum on the polyglotconference.com free of charge anytime you like. Meet up with people. You can also join in the discussions in the live environment as well. There are some links on the YouTube channel that I've already put in that you can use, and also you can get involved by celebrating multilingualism by hosting something or doing something yourself on the day in the live environment, or you can also help a language by learning Kristang with us, which is a beautiful language from Singapore and Malaysia that has just around 100 speakers, something like that. But great, beautiful thing to do. Easy for you to use if you speak Portuguese and Spanish particularly. Saludos y cariños desde Venezuela. Espero poder conocerte en un futuro y poder estar en contacto. Sí, muchas gracias, mentor de idioma. Muchas gracias, lo agradezco. Espero poder ir a una conferencia en el próximo futuro porque me gustaría también. A mí también me gusta hablar con la gente, me gusta en contacto humano, así que espero con mucha ilusión también poder viajar y tener una vida más normal, digamos. ¿Pudieras decirnos cómo mejorar la pronunciación en francés? En francés, pues, la cosa que hago yo generalmente en cada idioma es, se puede grabar la voz diciendo palabras o sonidos del idioma y haciendo una conversión entre lo que dices tú y lo que dicen los nativos. Y eso es una cosa que se puede hacer. También algunos trucos que se pueden hacer también con un idioma con francés. En inglés, en español tenemos U, ¿no? Solo tenemos U. No tenemos U, no tenemos U, como en francés. Pero se puede hacer unas cosas muy fáciles. Por ejemplo, con un lápiz o algo así. Meter lápiz entre los labios así. Y mantener los labios así. Y intentar decir I en español, pero sale como U en francés. Y es un U perfecto. Así que esos son algunos trucos que se pueden hacer también para tener acceso a unos sonidos que no tenemos en nuestros idiomas. Y eso es una cosa que aprendí bastante porque en francés sí que es bastante, es bastante importante tener la diferencia bien entre, por ejemplo, U y U, porque si dice, por ejemplo, merci beaucoup y merci beaucoup, eso quiere decir otra cosa. Entonces, beaucoup quiere decir culo bonito. Así que es siempre mejor pronunciarla, aprender la pronunciación bien en el idioma. Pues nada, te digo Y también fíjate en la posición de la lengua en la boca y dónde está, por ejemplo, con los dientes, dónde sale el aire también y dónde hay vibraciones en la garganta. Esas son cosas, para mí, súper importantes para el aprendizaje de un idioma. También se puede utilizar el alfabeto fonético para ver cómo, por ejemplo, se puede escribir todo. Así que, interesante. Ah, j'ai donc toujours cet exemple d'étrangers qui apprennent le français. Oui, c'est vrai. En fait, j'avais des copains à l'école qui disaient tout le temps merci beaucoup. Et je trouve ça c'est trop marrant, quoi. Mais je l'adore. Ok. Chameleon, he lived in Rotterdam for 2 years and never lose his Dutch. No, hopefully, Daniel, I won't lose my Dutch. I would love that. How come you can maintain some languages at a very high level without using them often? Dutch, Italian. Do you think that having reached a very high level is the answer? Le caméléon des langues, I think so. I think when you hit a language to the kind of the degree that I had, Dutch and French and Spanish and German and Italian and maybe a few others as well, it's pretty difficult to kind of lose that because you've had so much exposure to the language that it almost becomes second nature. It becomes very automatic. So yes, I don't think you really just lose it. Do you know good resources for learning Spanish? There are so many. This is the problem with a language like Spanish or French or German or Italian. Sometimes there are too many resources to give you just one. When it comes to languages like those, I always say go to a bookshop or look at different books and see which ones you think suit yours and what appeals to you visually, and also which ones explain the grammar and explain things in a fun and interesting way and engaging way. Because there's so much choice, it would be unfair and for me to say, oh yeah, this book, because honestly, I don't know all of the books to be able to do that, and it really is a personality thing with a lot of books. Some languages I can do that very easily because the materials are really limited, but yeah, that would. Sorry to sort of not give you a full definite answer, but it is really like that. Parli italiano? Sì, parlo italiano, sì, certo. Ho fatto la laurea di italiano, quindi sì, lo parlo abbastanza bene. Ho fatto anche la tesina in italiano, ho dovuto scrivere una tesina in italiano. Allora, indeed, I couldn't possibly forget languages such as French, English, Dutch, and Spanish reach C1 level, but it takes a lot of work to get there. Of course, absolutely, Camion des langues. I reach C2, C1, depending on language. Yeah, when I studied these languages, those ideas of C1, C2, B1, these didn't exist. So I just studied the languages because I was studying them. And we didn't have this idea of, we had the idea of basic, intermediate, and advanced, but it didn't really mean very much. And this all came in later. So I remember Luca was going to do his C2 exam in German, and I met people who had done it, and they said, "Oh, why don't you do it?" And I'm so, well, I kind of speak German already. I don't really need to prove anything now. It felt like a bit late to go back and redo exams when I'd kind of been through all of that at university, and I didn't sort of, I didn't really feel like doing it. But then I did have an interest in sort of knowing what they meant. So I did the exams in Turkish. So I did A1, A2, and B1 in Turkish. And at some stage I'll go back and do B2 as well, and may carry on further. I'm not sure. But I really like Turkish, and I'd like to improve. I can get by fairly well. But yeah, and I'd possibly like to do it. I'd like to sit the exam actually, probably in Bulgarian. I'd like to sit one of I don't know which level I would do, because it's very strange with Bulgarian. I understand it very well, and I can speak it fairly well. I can speak it fairly fluently. It's not always perfect. It's not as good as my Macedonian, but it's fairly good. And then the other language I might consider doing it is probably Serbian or Croatian, and then maybe Greek as well. I may consider doing in the future, just because Greek's close. Greek, I mean, if Thessaloniki is like 2 hours away from where we live, so it's possible to do it there. I might go back and do some of those exams. Who knows? What do I think about Duolingo? Duolingo is, look, popularizing. So anything that popularizes language learning for me is popularizing an activity that is useful and is positive. And so I can't be against anything like that. What do I think of actually what you learn? I find a lot of the phrases irrelevant to normal life. So I find it quite odd. I've met people with two different sort of outcomes from Duolingo. I've met some people who speak the language that they were learning pretty well, and I met some that completed the entire course and were absolutely lost. So I guess it depends on how you use it. Maybe some of the other people used it in conjunction with other materials. I don't know. What language do you like to speak the most and why? So, I mean, at home we speak Macedonian most. I love German. I've always loved German. I think it's a great language because I learned it with kids and I've always liked it. But I like all of them, actually. I like speaking languages that are new to me as well. So right now, making sense of sentences in Cornish or Gaelic, so I've been learning Scottish Gaelic and I've been learning Cornish this year. And I've also been learning, obviously, Korean. And I've enjoyed doing all of them. And yeah, so there's not really a favorite, but I like them all. I like speaking them all. Quel est ton conseil pour éviter de confondre des langues similaires, en particulier les langues latines? À mon avis, c'est d'attendre déjà un niveau B2 comme minimum, quoi, dans la première langue, et puis après continuer avec les autres. Et puis il faut les pratiquer toutes les langues ensemble pour commencer à pouvoir éviter la confusion entre les langues. Donc moi, je faisais par exemple des cours d'une langue et puis directement après, je faisais des cours d'une autre langue. Ou bien je parlais avec quelqu'un, par exemple, j'avais des copains, des potes qui parlaient les deux langues et j'essayais de parler les deux langues ensemble. Et comme ça, tu commences à confondre beaucoup moins les deux langues parce qu'ils vont déjà dire que ah non, ça c'est pas correct, c'est pas bien ça, il faut dire comme ça. Et puis tu vois la confusion plus facilement, quoi. Donc, à mon avis, c'est ça ce qu'il faut faire. Hi Richard, do you think it's easy to go on to learn a third and then a fourth language once you have mastered a second language? Absolutely, Carl, absolutely. Because you get used to the idea of learning different types of vocabulary and you have more hooks in your head to remember vocabulary and grammar. So yes, absolutely. What's your advice for learning Latin language? There's a really cool channel actually on here. There's a good book for Latin that I think if you want to speak Latin particularly, called Lingua Latina per Illustrati. And there are videos on YouTube that you can watch the whole thing. And the entire course is there. What are your thoughts on Celtic languages in the UK? Love them. So I speak Welsh because I'm Welsh English, and that was a heritage language for me. But now I'm learning Cornish and Gaelic, and I love learning them. What's your advice about my German language learning? How else could I go to improve it much better? I think looking at things online. So if you're at beginner level, for example, look out for Extra, EXTR @ German on YouTube, and you'll find lots of easy series. It's a series basically for learners. You can watch it with subtitles. And that, my friends, is it for today. I will look forward to seeing you all next week at the same time. And thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing from you soon via the links below. And remember to subscribe if you're not subscribing. I never say this, but I suppose it's important to say. Subscribe if you're not subscribing. And join me, follow me, interact with me. I love hearing from you all. You're all great people. Take care. Bye, everyone.